welcome to the Blind Judgment Podcast. We are so happy that you are here.
Yep.
We're happy to be here.
That's right.
Jonathan,
What's up, girl?
how are you?
I am doing so good.
Okay.
I could definitely go for a couple more pizza rolls.
Make yourself some more pizza rolls.
Nah, I'll do it as a reward to recording yet another epic episode of the Blind Judgment Podcast.
That's beautiful. Can that be our intro from now on?
We have been trying to come up with an intro and you keep putting it off.
No, I'm not putting it off. I want us to find the right one.
Yeah, so we're, every episode we have like a new song that I make with my AI tools. But Allie's vision since the beginning was we have like the same jingle, I guess, like the same intro.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But we just haven't done that.
Brand building, baby. Come on.
Yeah, like, do y'all get tired of those intros that you hear and they're the same every episode? Or do you like enjoy the bops that I add to the intros because they're bangers?
They are. Yes, that is true.
I even made one with lyrics and you were like, bro, that is cringe AF.
It was whack.
It was like, blind judgment.
It was not. They didn't even say the Blind Judgment Podcast. They were like, it's a spooky
Yeah, it was like,
hour.
Yeah, girl walking at night, there's a man following her.
It was whack. And I was like, no. Yeah, but anyways, what have you been up to? Have you watched anything recently? Have you consumed any piece of media that you feel really hyped on that you want to talk about?
Well, I definitely was gonna get into White Lotus because, yes, we finished season 3. And although I was hating on it throughout the season, it ended with a bang and it made everything worthwhile. Now I'm in love with that show. So we started watching the other seasons.
Yes. We tried watching season 1. How did you feel about season 1?
Season 1 seemed like a joke of itself. Like it just seemed way less serious compared to season 3. And I didn't like the acting, the actors, the
You didn't like any of the characters.
So I think we didn't even last an episode. And I was like, turn this shit off.
Yeah.
Then we got into season 2 this weekend.
My favorite.
And at first I was like, this isn't season 3. I don't like it. Because season 3, again, was my first introduction to White Lotus. And first of all, everybody I tell that I started with season 3, they're like, oh, I can't believe you did that. Oh my God.
Me. Yes.
You don't know how to watch TV. Fair, but you would always give me like a little rundown before each episode. So I understood more or less what was happening.
Context, yeah.
But no, season 2 is fire. I didn't know Aubrey Plaza was in it.
I love her.
Yeah, I love her as well. She's awesome. So really enjoying that. But no, I was going to say we watched the Milk movie earlier today.
It featured milk, but it wasn't about milk. It was called Baby Girl with Nicole Kidman.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
I don't know that. That movie was lame as hell, but if you look online, everybody acts
Everyone's
like
it's a masterpiece. We were like, did ChatGPT write and direct this?
It literally seems like AI wrote that movie. And just, anyways.
It's like humans are happy. Watch them dance.
Yeah, and if you've ever wanted to see Nicole Kidman get milk licked off of her face, you might be interested.
Very creepily. It's not in a good way.
Yeah.
If there is a good way.
A lot of choices were made in that film. I do not recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it either.
Yeah, we sat and watched all of it.
Yeah, we did.
So what does that mean?
We were glued to it, for sure.
No, but, other than that, it's a NBA playoff season. I literally have it on.
He's currently watching it. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm literally in trouble because I have the playoffs on while we're recording this podcast. So she feels like I'm not present.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, shut up, woman. What's wrong with me?
My dad listens to this.
Okay.
All right. Well.
Got hot up in here. Too many
It ain't
pizza
toasty in
rolls.
here. It's because you ate your weight in pizza rolls.
Oh my gosh. How do
You
y'all eat y'all's...
served it in a bowl.
Listen to me. Whatever, dude, okay? I thought you, like, were pro bowl. How do y'all guys like to eat y'all's pizza rolls? And if you don't eat pizza rolls, I totally understand because you're probably an adult. But for those
You're
of you
children.
who are children and eat it like us,
And you must eat them with hot sauce. And I mean, that's just the only way to eat pizza rolls, in my opinion. And the Valentina's hot sauce, I would highly recommend.
oh, where did you get that idea from?
Okay, maybe from you, but you got the hot sauce idea from me.
Yeah, what hot sauce were you using?
Tabasco
Lame,
or
dude.
Crystal.
Okay, Crystal's good, but Valentina all the way for your pizza rolls. So yeah, if you haven't tried it, check it out. And shout out the best grocery store in the world. HEB pizza rolls are literally goated.
They are absolutely goated. I have been eating pizza rolls for 30 years, and the best pizza rolls on the market are the HEB pizza rolls. The way they crisp up, delish.
Yeah, and you may notice that we'll use words like goated, and that's because my producer was like, we need to appeal to younger audiences, so speak unlike yourself. And so I'm like,
I did not say that.
that's true. I just
Back it
lied.
up, boy.
Yeah.
It's all good.
It's all good. All right, nah, I'm cool. I'm chilling. But what's up with you? We got a spicy episode or what?
We do. We have kind of an interesting one. So I have a larger episode queued up, but I'm deciding on whether or not I want to split it up into 2 parts.
Okay.
So, in the meantime, while I'm still working on that one, I have a really interesting, super good case that we are going to go over today. We're going to discuss today. I learned about it and it just really jumped out at me. I thought it was very interesting, very creepy, and I think perfect for this podcast.
Okay.
So before we get into it, I'm going to ask you a question.
Sure.
How old were you when you got your first cell phone?
Ooh, when I got my first cell phone, let's see. I was already in high school. I
Grandpa.
believe I was... I don't want to say I was a freshman. So I think I was around like 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And it was a little Samsung.
A little Samsung,
Flip
a little
phone.
flip phone.
Oh, yeah.
All
It's
right.
pre-smartphone era.
Cool. Well, I ask you that because this is a case where, I read all the facts, I learn about it, and it makes me feel so grateful that I have a cell phone.
Oh, okay.
It makes me just feel so fortunate that if I'm ever like in any kind of situation, help is just like a phone call away. And it really, as a person who grew up like with technology, like I think I was in probably 6th grade whenever I got my first cell phone.
That's
So I was
crazy.
pretty young, but I've just always like had a cell phone, and it's just wild to me to visualize a time before you could just pick up your phone if you needed anything.
Wait, were you like a 6th grader that was asking your parents for a cell phone, or is it more like they gave it to you?
They gave it to me. I didn't
Okay.
ask for it. They gave it to me.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah,
You look like a Razor girl. Do you
a
have
Razor girl.
Yeah, like the cell phone, the Razor cell phone. Is that what you had? Because that was like the iPhone before iPhone. You know what I'm saying? Like, like if you had the Razor, that was cool. Like you were sending a signal if you pulled out a little razor from your pocket and put it up to your ear.
I don't remember if I had one. I had several cell phones. Like I went through a bunch of different cell phones, but as soon as the iPhone became a thing, I feel like I had an iPhone, and I still currently.
Were you a BlackBerry girl?
I was a BlackBerry girl.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe. Okay, so maybe that was the iPhone before the iPhone.
I was going to say, I was a little shocked whenever you said the Razor.
No, the Razor was a big deal.
Huh.
Razor was a big deal. Well, I forgot what movie we were watching that was set around that time. And it was I was watching Baby Mama with Tina Fey.
Oh, yeah.
And she's like a CEO type power person.
Mm-hmm.
She's just whipping out the Razor, and I was like, oh yeah, I remember that phone.
That's crazy. I haven't thought about that. I can't believe that movie's that old. In my head, like it just came out.
I know. I feel the exact same way.
That's crazy.
2007, that movie came out.
2007?
Yeah. Tina Fey is a legend.
Both of those ladies.
For sure.
Fabulous.
Anyways.
So back to the case. Let me get this train back onto the tracks. Today we are discussing the case of Denise Huber. Does that name sound familiar to you?
It does not.
This is an older case. It's from the early 90s. It's from 1991.
Okay.
So you probably, the likelihood of you hearing about it probably is pretty slim. But let's talk about Denise a little bit. So in the year 1991, Denise Huber is a 23-year-old woman who is just starting out in life. She had just gotten a degree in social sciences from UC Irvine, and she had just moved back in with her parents, Dennis and Iona, in her childhood home in Newport Beach, California, kind of while she was figuring out her next steps.
Okay.
She was working part-time as a waitress at a restaurant, and she was also volunteering at her church. Her family is very, very active in the church. Denise is really well-liked. She's friendly and kind, and everyone who meets her remembers her bright blue eyes.
Okay.
So on the night of June 2nd, 1991, Denise has 2 tickets to a Morrissey concert. Which, heck yeah, girl. I love Morrissey. The Smiths are, as you know, like one of my favorite bands of all time. Super cool. And apparently she also loves the Smiths. She is super stoked to go to this concert. She is all dressed up in a nice dress with dark stockings, a jacket, and some high heels. She is decked out.
Okay.
So originally, she's supposed to go with her boyfriend, Steve. But for whatever reason, Steve couldn't go. So she ends up going with her friend, Robert Calvert. So at around 5 p.m., she picks up Rob in Huntington Beach, and they head over to Inglewood to attend the concert.
Okay.
They get to the parking lot, and they are pre-gaming with some vodka and orange juice before the show.
Holler. Aren't those called something?
It's called a screwdriver.
Screwdriver.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And probably because even in the early 90s, concert concessions were wildly overpriced. During the concert, they actually share a 20-ounce beer.
Yeah, now the tickets are ridiculously priced.
The tickets plus the concessions.
Yeah, that's true.
Crazy to go to a concert. So they enjoy the concert, and once it ends, they decide to go to a bar in Long Beach where they have a couple more beers. They hang out until the bar closes, which is around 1:30 a.m. And after that, Denise drives Rob back home to Huntington Beach, dropping him off at around 2 a.m.
Okay.
Before I go any further, what are your thoughts so far? I feel like I just threw a bunch of information at you.
No, not at all. But I assume the boyfriend, Steve,
yeah,
does not live with her and her parents.
No.
He lives in his own place. Okay.
Yeah.
Is he older?
He's about her age.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I assume that he's okay with her and this guy, Rob's relationship.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. They're So they're all friends. They're all part of this friend group. He's kind of like a mutual friend.
Okay, so he knows of Rob.
He knows Rob very well. Like they're all good friends.
Okay.
So this isn't like out of the ordinary.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, everything sounds pretty ordinary, and our boy Rob got home safely, it sounds like. So yeah, what happened to my girl?
Let's keep going.
All right.
So the next morning, June 3rd, her parents are a little concerned because it's getting late in the morning and Denise hasn't come out of her room. So her mom goes into the room and no Denise. Her bed is still made. And even stranger, her blue Honda Accord is not in the driveway.
Hmm.
So at first her parents are like, well, maybe she just stayed over at a friend's house because she'd gone to the concert. She's out late the night before. And she's an adult and she can do whatever she wants.
I love being an adult for that reason. Now, did her parents know that she didn't go with her boyfriend to the concert?
I mean, I'm not sure. I would assume so. They knew she was going to a concert. So her mom, Iona, calls Denise's best friend, Tammy, and tells her that Denise never came home last night. She's like, do you know where she could be? And Tammy hasn't heard from her either, but she tells Iona that she's going to call Rob, their mutual friend, who she'd gone to the concert with. So Tammy makes some calls. She talks to Rob, and he tells her that Denise dropped him off, and that was the last that he had seen of her. Like, they had been drinking, but she wasn't drunk, and he didn't feel like she was unsafe to drive.
Right.
So Denise's family and friends are getting increasingly concerned because no one has heard from her and they can't locate her. So Tammy, her friend, she decides to just go out and drive around and look for her. She's driving around, and eventually, so she's southbound on Highway 73. And just before the Newport Beach exit, she catches something out of the corner of her eye. It's a blue Honda Accord parked on the side of the road with a flat tire. She immediately starts to panic. To get to the car, she has to get off the highway and loop around. And while she's doing this, she says she has this horrible sinking feeling, like absolute dread. She gets to the car. She discovers it is, in fact, Denise's car. So she calls Denise's parents. They come to check it out. And her car's unlocked. And the keys and her purse were missing. The car itself seems in order. Like, there's no apparent sign of, like, struggle in the car. But her stockings, her pantyhose, were on the car passenger seat.
Okay.
Which isn't necessarily, like, that strange. Because, like, as a woman who has wore pantyhose and tights many times, if you've, like, been wearing them for many hours, you just want to take them off.
It gets hot.
It's just hot, and they're just super uncomfortable.
Yeah.
So she could have just, like, taken them off and been like, okay, whatever. But nonetheless, she is still missing. So they call the police, and they start to investigate. And they take note of a set of high-heeled footprints around Denise's car. The footprints continue down the side of the road, and then they just stop. So the only thing they can assume is that she must have gotten into a car and then vanished.
Huh.
So an investigation ensues. The word gets out about her disappearance. Her story is featured on all of the local news stations. And her parents even pay for this billboard with her picture on it and a reward for any information. But with no real leads, Denise Huber's case goes cold. What do you think? What do you think happened to her?
So you said they didn't find anything in her car, like no purse, no keys.
Her purse and her keys were missing. And the car was outside of having a flat tire, the car was completely fine.
So maybe I'm thinking that she got a flat while driving, pulled over to the side of the road, and basically flagged somebody down for help.
The
and
wrong
just
person.
flagged the wrong person down. And yeah, something bad happened.
It's terrible. It's
now
very
here we
sad.
are making a podcast
so
about it.
frightening. Yeah. And now here we are. All right, so we're going to switch gears a little bit. So Jack and Elaine Court are a retired couple who are living in Prescott Valley, Arizona. They sell paint supplies at their local flea markets and swap meets.
Okay.
In June of 1994, shout out.
Can you explain that?
I was born in June of 94. They meet a man named John Familaro, who is also selling paint-related items. And since they're in the same business, John tells the couple that they should come to his house to check out some of the paint that he has at his home, and maybe they can make some trades.
I'm sorry, what kind of paint is this? Is this for painting a home or
all
art?
kinds of paint? Could be for art, could be for house painting.
Okay.
So the couple, they're just kind of selling tools and items. This guy, John Familaro, he is a painter and he paints homes.
Okay.
So, but he still has lots of painting utensils, maybe some unique paints. I know it's kind of a weird, quirky thing, but for whatever reason, he meets these people and he's like, come over to my house. Maybe we can trade some of our paint things.
Yeah, good old paint buddies.
Paint buds. So they agree. They take him up on this offer. And when they get to his house, they notice something odd. There's a moving truck in his backyard, and a bunch of weeds and brush are growing around the tires, and it appears to be in bad shape. It also has a bunch of extension cords running out of it, as well as a bunch of cleaning chemicals that are sitting outside of it as well. Super duper weird. So they trade their items and they leave without any issues, but the moving truck raises their suspicions, especially since John told them that he had just moved to town only 6 months prior.
Huh. Well, it's just interesting that they'd be so suspicious about a moving truck. I mean, I guess if you see a bunch of cords coming out of the back end of it,
yeah,
maybe it stands out, but I don't know. Yeah, I drive down the road and sometimes you see people have junk cars in their backyard or something. And,
yeah.
It's just not that unusual, but
for whatever reason, they're sketched out about it.
Yeah, maybe there's got a weird vibe just being in his home or something.
Well, so they think that he either stole that truck or they think it's like a mobile meth lab.
I was just gonna say.
Yeah. So they think it's either drugs or stolen.
Yeah, I feel like for some reason it stood out. Maybe it's a common thing for drugs to be made in those types of trucks, and so maybe that's why it stood out. They're like, oh, he has one of those things.
Shoot, I don't know. Maybe we should watch Breaking Bad because I feel like they make meth in.
I think they're in, yeah, RVs.
Yeah.
So
okay, well,
I thought you were gonna say maybe we should do meth.
Hey, do you want to do some meth?
And go steal U-Haul trucks? There's actually a neighbor in this neighborhood who has a U-Haul truck full time.
No.
Because I saw it one time and I was like, oh, they're moving. And then, I walk the dog all the time and I'm like, man, 2 days later I saw it. 3 days later I kept saw. I'm like, man, they're paying. What is this U-Haul bill going to look like?
Stolen meth lab or
yeah, now I'm
something
interested.
else.
Now we need to go check it out.
Yeah, you want to go right now?
Yeah, let's cancel this podcast and just go.
You want to do some meth and check it out?
Let's go do some meth and walk around the neighborhood, poking around people's driveways.
We've seen some kooky ass people walking around your neighborhood in the recent.
Explain. We're the ones that are usually walking around. You calling me weird?
No, there was that gal who was flash dancing, fancy dance walking.
First of all, that was in our neighborhood, but there was a lady. She just looked too happy to be walking down the street, and we immediately thought she was on drugs. But maybe she was just happy with life.
No.
Like, what kind of horrible people are we that we see somebody who's just happily dancing down the road, and we're just like...
She danced like 6 blocks.
She did dance, and her pants were like ripped up.
From all the dancing. We're terrible.
Yeah.
Anyways. So, okay. They think the truck is either stolen or it's got a meth lab in it. Something weird is going on with this truck, okay? They take down the license plate and they tell a deputy who checks the plates, and he finds out that, lo and behold, the truck had been reported stolen 6 months prior. So the deputy calls for backup. They arrive at John's home. Nobody's there, but they have probable cause because, stolen truck. So they open it up, and let me add this. This guy, John Familaro, he is a hoarder. Hoarder. So the truck is filled with a bunch of junk, like boxes and bags of random shit. And they're like, okay, it's not a meth lab, but it is in fact a stolen truck. So they have to process the contents. And one deputy notices that the power cords that were running through the truck are connected to a large industrial freezer located at the back of the trailer. It's bolted shut and covered in black masking tape. So they cut off the lock, they open it up, and they are met with a putrid smell. There are multiple white and black trash bags covered in a frozen brown liquid. He lifts one of the bags, slashes through it, and to his horror, he discovers a frozen human head staring back at him.
Whoa.
All right, so they call forensics, and upon further investigations, they uncover a naked human body, frozen completely solid, with its hands cuffed behind the back.
Wow.
So now we have a homicide investigation. And again, this guy, he's a total hoarder. So they start going through all of his stuff because he has boxes and boxes of things. And while they're going through everything, John returns home. And he's super calm. He's like super nonchalant. He goes up to the officers and he's like, oh, like, what's going on, guys? Like, what are you doing?
Huh.
And the detectives are like, oh, we're investigating this stolen truck. We need to ask you some questions. And John is super cooperative. He's like, listen, I've been trying to return it. They're being so difficult because it's this company in California. Like,
I've been trying to
so
return
hard.
it with all my junk in the back of it.
It's difficult. And the cops are like, we totally get it. That's understandable. But wait, what about the body that's in there? He immediately changes. His demeanor changes. And he's like, I need to speak to a lawyer.
This is crazy, dude.
So the investigators are going through the hoard. And they locate this one box that is filled with items belonging to various women, like IDs, credit cards, clothing, jewelry. They locate these women, and they tell detectives either they didn't know who John was and they don't know how he got their stuff, or they did know him or date him, and he's an absolute creep. He's pushy, abusive, and he can be sadistic. So one of these women was actually his ex-girlfriend, and she told this story. They went on a trip. He handcuffed her to the window, stripped her, assaulted her, and then left her in the window for hours. Yeah, this guy is a real piece of shit.
Yeah.
And also, just to paint a visual, he looks like Beaker from the Muppets.
Of course he does.
Like straight up. I'll show you.
Great.
We'll have a side-by-side link in the episode description.
And I'll Reddit.
And yeah, on the Reddits. So also in the hoard, there is a big black garbage bag that looked like the ones that were used to store the body in the freezer.
This is still in the back of the truck, right?
This is still in the truck.
Okay.
Inside the bag were smaller boxes filled with another woman's belongings, like her wallet, checkbooks, her purse, makeup, car keys, personal items, right? They all have the same name on them. Denise Huber. So they do some research. They discover that she is a missing person. And along with forensic findings in the autopsy, they are able to conclude that the body in the freezer is Denise.
Dang.
So where are you at?
And there was just one body then, and it was just hers?
Just one body, just hers.
And they couldn't find any like DNA evidence in her car, or would they not even go through those lengths because they have no reason to suspect like anything? Like, like
yeah,
did they
didn't
do that?
have anything. There was no foul play.
But there's a missing person. I mean, that's
True.
not good enough.
She could have just like up and left and then just never talked to her family again.
Oh man. It's crazy that this guy just kept all of that stuff. So now
he's a hoarder, so he
had
to hang on to it all.
I know.
He couldn't get rid of anything.
Yeah, and that's kind of,
which makes it insane, just like adds to it.
Literally couldn't get rid of anything. I mean,
quite literally.
And so I wonder if there are more murders that this guy is responsible for.
We don't know.
Because he has like all the information, keepsakes from all these other women. So
yeah, there could be other victims, but they didn't find anything because they had to process his entire house. They even found this like hidden room below his house. And they were like, when they found Denise's body, they were like, oh crap.
Yeah.
Like, what if there are more bodies in this basement? But they never found anything.
Dang, that's got to be frustrating.
Yeah.
Because they're assuming that.
Yeah.
This guy did more.
Or maybe he had the plan to
do more harm. So this was in 94. She went missing in 91.
She went missing in 1991, and this was in 94.
So the case was closed for 3 years.
Almost exactly 3 years.
Okay. So then, man, so that body was in there for 3 years?
3 years. We'll get into it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I wonder where it was before the truck.
We'll get into it.
Came into the picture. All right, cool. Let's do it.
So first, let's get into the autopsy. So Denise's skull was pretty much broken to pieces. They believe that she had been struck in the head at least 31 times. They say at least 31 because there could have been repeated blows in the same area of tissue.
Jeez.
And with the current state of the body, they wouldn't be able to distinguish between them.
Horrible.
So there were a lot of curved and oval fractures. And along with some cuts, you could see brain tissue poking through some of them. And in some of those dents, there were pieces of the white plastic bags that were wrapped around her head. And they matched up with the slits on the bag. So he probably hit her
While
on
she had
her
a
head
bag?
while she had the bag over her head.
Okay.
The bags in the freezer also had the clothes that Denise was last seen wearing the night that she went missing. So her jacket, her dress, her underwear, and her heels. The dress had a torn and frayed shoulder strap, but it was like still kind of hanging on by a thread.
Okay.
The heels were badly damaged. One of them had a broken tip. And additionally, they found a blood-stained hammer that is suspected to be the murder weapon, as well as a pair of blood-stained men's jeans, a bloodied sweatshirt, some dried blood-soaked rags, and a pair of surgical gloves turned inside out. So literally all of the evidence was here.
Frozen in time.
Yeah.
Wow.
So they've got this guy, right? It's a pretty cut and dry case. The evidence is right there. They have literally everything. They charge him with first-degree murder and kidnapping. And this asshole, this guy, he is not talking. His lips are sealed. He's not talking, and he pleads not guilty. So the detectives kind of have to piece together what they think happened to Denise the early morning hours of June 3rd. So they believe that Denise had a blowout on the highway. She pulls over and she sets out to find a payphone to call for help. While she's walking, John Familaro, he's driving and he sees her. He pulls over and offers her a ride to his warehouse, which is nearby, so she can use his phone and call for help. Once there, he subdues her and assaults her, but she fights back. So he puts a bag over her head and took a hammer and hit her with the nail remover side of the hammer at least 31 times.
Oh my God.
They review his credit card statements from this time, and he had purchased the freezer her body was found in on June 5th. So just a few days after he murdered her. Again, he's a hoarder. He just kept her body this whole time. So in 1993, he moves from California to Arizona, and he had hired some movers to drive the truck that the freezer was in, that her body's in. He hires these movers to drive it from California to Arizona across state lines, and he tells them, oh, there's elk meat in there. So make sure that it stays shut and you plug it in every few hours. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
So he goes to trial. Surprise, surprise, he is found guilty. And in 1997, he is sentenced to death. He is currently awaiting execution at the San Quentin State Prison in California.
Wow.
To this day.
So wait, I thought this all took the thing about Arizona? Like,
her body was found in Arizona.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that matter? Like the fact that it crossed state lines, did that play any role in his sentencing? Did it make it worse, or?
It didn't play any role in his sentencing. No. He was convicted of the charges of kidnapping and murder.
Got it.
They assume she was sexually assaulted, but because of the state of her body, they weren't able to
prove it.
Kind of make any conclusions. There were multiple medical examiners that, looked over her body. And a lot of them were like, we're pretty sure that's what happened, but we can't, guarantee that's what it is. But I never saw any charges regarding taking her body over state lines. The movers were never charged because they didn't know.
Right.
But I didn't see any charges relating to that. Oh, so obviously it's great that he's in prison and he will never leave. Denise got justice, but this is such a heartbreaking case because she was honestly at the wrong place at the wrong time.
Yeah.
Like if she had been there 15 minutes earlier or later, he would not have seen her and pulled over and snatched her.
Yeah.
You know?
I wonder if, and this may sound horrible, this may be a bad take, but like maybe she was a little bit drunk or something and hit something and that caused the tire to blow out.
Maybe. Yeah.
You know? But
who knows?
Who knows? But I mean, her friend said she didn't seem bad at all.
Yeah,
so.
that she didn't seem like she was super intoxicated.
Yeah, I'm sure at that point, once hindsight is 2020, you can point at a million different things and say if
this had happened.
If this had happened differently, maybe, something would have.
Or what if they didn't go to the bar after the concert?
Right. Yeah,
like you could say that about a
home.
million things.
Right, exactly. But
but just unfortunately, wrong place at the wrong time, which is just so unbelievably.
That doesn't change the fact that there's just evil people out there.
Exactly. There are creepy beaker hoarder creepies, McCreevertons.
Just looking for their opportunity
to prey
to
on
hoard
people.
Dead bodies, apparently.
Yeah, for real. And perhaps had the intention to hoard more because, like I had mentioned, they found like a hidden room under his house. So it's like some John Wayne Gacy shit.
Yeah, like I wonder if he's had this desire to do something like this. Like I feel like the collecting of like all the keepsakes and personal belongings that they found of other women, that's just so weird.
Yeah.
So like maybe he's been wanting to do something like this.
Well, perhaps. But I mean, also like if you have the hoarder mentality, you will probably hang on to things.
Yeah, that's true.
So what do you think of this case? What are your takeaways?
It's just really sad. Like she's just like a really fun night. At first I was like, it's Rob. Blame Rob. Like this motherfucker. It just sounds like a really sad, very scary situation for anyone to find themselves in. And
it really is. It's so sad. And like I had watched an interview of her parents who were talking whenever this guy got sentenced. And her dad was just like, it was almost better when we didn't know what happened to her. And it's just so soul crushing to know what she went through and the fact that her body had been in this state for years. Like that's even more difficult to reconcile than she's just missing,
Yeah. And man, crazy that the people went to his house to buy paint or whatever.
Yeah.
Just called in the U-Haul truck and
all the more reason for us to go over and check out that U-Haul that's down the street.
Mia, you want to go on a walk? Oh, shoot. Dang, now we have to take her.
Never said that.
I forgot she understands.
Said the magic word.
Yeah, I forgot she knows 2 words, and that's one of them.
All right, well, let's close this one out. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you for being a good co-host.
Thank you, girl. Thanks for walking me through another epic case. You're the best researcher that I know of.
Hell yeah.
Shout out to all our listeners out there. My mom told me that all my family in Mexico, huge fans.
Oh, awesome.
And we see it in the stats, so shout out to all my family in Mexico.
Shout out.
And shout out to all my other fans out there. Not all my fans. They're our fans.
They're just tuning in for you. I mean, it makes sense. It's fair.
No, but we appreciate y'all sticking around and hearing us out. And don't forget, if you're ever interested in looking at the photos of the cases we talk about, they are on Reddit. You can just click on the link and they'll show for you. You don't need an account. We make it easy. It's always in the show notes. But yeah, feel free to check them out. And until next time, we'll see y'all later.
Bye-bye.